So today's extra windy, actually. That's why I added this extra piece of wood to secure the thing in place. And so I got this to fit this piece. I did shave it down. There is some gap edge again. Gaps will be filled with something in the future. I thought that was going to take care, but there is a little bit of lippage here, so it does not super lay flat. It's okay. I'm either going to have to cut it so it lays flat short and then add something here, which I'm not super bothered either way. But I probably would just be easier to lay the whole thing, just shim it up on the other side and then have a gap and fill the gap. It's probably the best thing. And then probably have to get some spline or something. Anyway, on this side, I did add this. All these pieces are not in line with the window, but once I decide when the window is in line, whether that's going to be pushing this portion back and then getting it together, that has to be decided before I decide to however to put this. But I want to have these straight, so we're not necessarily bowing out so much more. Right, because these can still all come up, because they're only on this side, they can still come up this way, right? So I can push these out, or I can make them meet a middle portion, which is what I'm feel like. Well, on the one hand, I kind of want to do that, but then regardless, the whole wall has to come forward a bit, so I think, right, at this point, so, but it's you know, that's a lot of work done. Yeah, I'm real happy about that. It really is just the fronts and then the roofs, and I'm completely fine cutting things that, you know, if it has rot up to a point, I'll cut the point off and then use the rest, right? I'm thinking I'm gonna have to, I'm going to just take these pieces off since they're so high up, and essentially, like, well, at least once the top portion of this is done, maybe wall by wall we'll take it. But yeah, I want to continue on and finish this portion up, I think, however that's gonna go. You know, and things are like shrinking, and you know, because of winter and whatever. But I do want to get some portions off. Close some things up. Yeah. Is this portion sinking? If it is, I don't know. If it is, I can't do anything about it at this point, right? I don't think it is though, but whatever. Anyway, see this portion over here. That bottom chunk is really ugly looking. So, I really have to figure out, you know, things are shrinking though with the weather. Because this gap edge was not this big before. Oh, and then I did take a piece off of a piece. I did add this little finish right here, just because I don't like how much it gaps forward. And this closes a lot of the visible gap on the outside, right? So there's something. Anyway, this is not going to be a perfect, really square, even thing, but as long as it's secure enough to, it's, you know, it's stood a lot of weather over a year plus. So as long as it withstands some more. I do have to figure out something about, I guess maybe I could lift it up somehow to level it out if I need to, right? It's just in sand. Anyway, yeah. My mom's off to give my sister some food. Her house is down that way. So today is Tuesday the 20th. I think this coming Saturday, Sunday, there might be, the idea is there's snow on the way. Very cold temperature, snow on the way. And generally speaking, we're essentially out of this whole awkward period of like, we're really warmer than we should be. We're going into like winter temperatures for a little bit. We're going to be in the 30s and the teens some days. Generally speaking, the lows headed towards the 20s and the teens. So we're getting cold. So, you know, days are getting a little longer, or at least the sunset is getting a little longer, I think. But I'm not necessarily super out here as much as I can, and I'm not going to be out here for a couple days because, again, those temperatures, right? So I came out here. I've been walking out here. I've been watching rich people do their thing. So I like watching rich people in their gardens when they have budgets and whatnot. I just took those pieces off of what a project that was meant to be a platform. And so I'm going to be sawing those soon enough. But I wanted to come out and talk about my plants. So I want roses. I don't necessarily want every other spot to have roses. Not yet. Maybe eventually. But I want roses. Cool. Obviously, over there, what we showed later, I have the arbor thing that was very much built on a whim one day out of like half rotted wood. And that's by the well. I have a little spot by the well that I'm putting organic material and to make like a compost heap to put a rose there. Climbing rose, bush rose, I'm still deciding in my mind. And so anyway, I wanted to check up on, or so I've been watching a lot of people rose prune. I love watching people rose prune because I tend to be a heavy-handed person as well when it comes to pruning. So I love watching people prune roses because it by nature is heavy-handedness with the pruning of the roses. Um, and so the other day I came out here and I was looking at my rose and I'm like, do I prune it today? Do I prune it later? And again, the weather, we're coming in for harder freezes than we previously had. Like we've been in sub 30 temperatures before, but these are going to be like a couple days of back-to-back freezing. So I'm probably going to wait till like early February to prune up this rose. But I just wanted to talk about what my thoughts. And so I think last year I did prune. I didn't necessarily prune the best I could have. I pretty much just tried to open up, but maybe some spots I had left open um, some thin pieces of rose that could have been tweezed off. So like right now, there's a lot of thin pieces. A lot of thinner pieces of rose I can cut up. But the idea is, again, we're going to cut everything that's going in towards and cut thin pieces off. And we're going to try and cut above outward facing branches. Because this, I think, I want to say it's supposed to get like 3 to 4 feet tall, maybe even 5 feet tall. I don't remember. This is the Earth Angel Parfuma. I don't remember how tall it's supposed to get. But I feel like it should be taller than this. So last year, or year before last, was the year it got used to this spot, me getting used to how much I should be watering it, blah, blah, blah. Last year it grew a lot more. This is not necessarily the sunniest spot. I think it probably could do in a sunnier spot, but I also don't want to move it. I think I've decided against moving it. And obviously I have this whole swoop area, and this is not necessarily in with a swoop, but I still like it here regardless. Okay? And so looking at the rose, there's a lot I'm going to be pruning out from the inside. A lot that's coming inwards, I'm going to be pruning out. I want pretty much just open cup shape is what we want, because I know this can get very, the leaves can get big. So we want open cup shape. We want as much airflow. I don't mind it being as wide as possible, because then different spots get different sunlight, And so a lot of this is going to go. Like this is going to go. Probably because it looks a bit old and dead to me. There's a lot of things that are crossing, obviously, like this that's coming off sideways. This coming off sideways is going to go. Some of these in the back, the small ones in the bottom are going to go. A lot of this over here is going to get cut back heavy. I'm very eager to cut, but it's cold and it's going to be colder. And I have to wait, but it's not that long. It's maybe just like 2 weeks. So I am going to be cutting this. I am very excited to be cutting this. I love when I can see from a distance the white roses. I know I mean to replace this as an idea and make some other thing, but I'm probably going to have to dig this up and take other scrap wood instead of oak. Maybe I'll use the oak for like cross branches. You know, the oak is a cute idea. Maybe not the sturdiest idea, but it's a cute idea. Let me wipe the thing. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of inward cuts, but everything, especially on this side, is going to go outwards. Anything that's crossing, like this back here, I'm probably going to cut that back. I might cut that whole one all the way down, actually. I don't know where the new growth would be, if anything. Yeah, I'm probably going to cut the whole thing back. And that's behind it, I'm going to cut off. That's in front of the lens behind it, going to cut it back. On the bottom, is that rubbing? I don't think so. This small thing right here, going to cut off. So it's going to be a heavy pruning. I need to figure out where I can cut here, because there's some parts that look like they're dead up top, so I'm probably going to cut those as well, because they just don't look super healthy, right? But I want to let a solid structure build up. Maybe even this middle section I could cut, but no, I'm still okay. No, not yet. So yeah, this one in the back looks nice, but it does have some in the front, so maybe this one I will cut off and let that one in the back grow off. I might do that. That sounds like a plan. But then also this one on the side might have some. I have to think. We'll have to think. Yeah. And so I'm gonna plan on watering and fertilizing heavy this coming season. This whole area slopes. It's not a heavy, sharp slope, but it slopes. And I was like, oh, I have this here, and oh, I'm building this here. But I'm like, that would be a nice spot for like a a gazebo, especially one of those raised round octagonal ones or whatever. Like that would be a spot, but then it would block things. And I like the view of everything I'm building over here. So I don't know that I would do that just for blocking. And then I had another idea. I'm like, what about an in-ground pool? And I had been one person who was like, no to a pool because of mosquitoes, and that still stands. We could have a small one somewhere, not a pool, a pond, like a pond liner. We could have something somewhere, right? Like a water feature. So maybe a pond liner, maybe a what do you call this? Maybe a pond liner, maybe a water fountain is the idea. There's definitely space because the right in front of that front window is where the septic is. It comes out about 5 feet and then goes this way. There's three of them. They go this way. I think this whole area is clear of that. So I think we have enough space in this clear area for sure like a 10 foot at most probably. Maybe even a 12. Who knows? I think 12 is pushing it. But I still like the idea of something up here, right? I still like the idea of something up here because it would just look cute. And then you have the open space above, depending on, you could nighttime gaze and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that anyone would come out here in the night and just sit out here and enjoy it. The other thing would be like wasps and whatnot and whatever flies are coming up from whatever trees stumps are rotting under here because there are a lot of dead tree stumps all over the place. So that's something to consider. And so I have this whole area over here. Obviously, I love to look out this area. I'm going to come again and prune up these drift roses. They get very, very spindly in the middle, but I know they come back super easy, super strong. So I'm going to be doing hard cuts on these. I know last year at some point there was a wasp nest on one of these, but anyway, hard cuts on a lot of this. That one also probably, and then these three that are also like drift type roses. I think I cut this essentially back to like two little stubs that were just opposite direction last year. So these grow very, very well. Okay, so there's a lot of planning that I've changed my mind here, but so that's the well cover. That's the well. There's my box. I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna take some old nails and zhuzh it up so it's more of like a box again, not just pieces of wood falling over on themselves, right? I came over here the other day to look at my wisteria, my Kentucky Blue Moon wisteria, because I'm like, how did that grow, right? And it's here. She's still alive. She's doing great. But this is moving a bit, right? And again, this wood was already like in bad shape, but the whole thing was let's not let it super rot out. Let's use it real quick. And I have yet to see anything super climb up over it. So I saw my mother. I'm like, oh, it's wobbly and it's probably got at least another year in it, I would say. But I for sure want to have something climb up in it. So I'm thinking that maybe I move the wisteria somewhere else and put something that I think is going to grow maybe a bit more aggressive in the season, like some star jasmine, because I definitely want this covered. I want to see this one season covered. And I think the wisteria will take too long. I did think that the wisteria got longer, but we do have this thing here, we have this one here, and we have this one here. So, yeah, it definitely takes longer to grow. I know the native varieties don't grow as early, and they grow a bit slower than the non-natives, but I'm thinking I might move it. And so following that decision, I'm like, oh, I could move it, right? That's something to do. And I was looking at this section over here, and so I'm gonna go back and I don't know if I'm gonna do it now or another day, but essentially this area here, bed, crossway, wow, whatever is digging underneath the ground hates me. Anyway, this bed section, I have some pavers here, obviously. These pavers probably will, in my mind, curve a bit more, right? So it's that bed, walkway, this bed. It's gonna be pathway here that follows this line here. And it's kind of like a wide pathway here, right? This pathway comes here. The idea is we have these 3 holes where the hollies were. I want to get trees. I want to replace them with trees. Fruit trees is my idea. Anyway, so we'll have the trees and maybe some shrubs underneath them. Another little walkway here. And this is a little corner also as well here. We have the lilac. We have the hydrangea. We have the abelia that's essentially dead. And I'm going to replace it with something. Our Are these old? This is old gladiolus. So I know there's definitely gladiolus here. But that's fine. I'm fine just walking over them. So this walkway is actually going to be like here, actually. So it's going to be quite a wide walkway over here. So it's going to go like this. So this walkway here, right? That's the walkway. Now I'm thinking, holding with the trellis, now I'm thinking I could have another like wooden trellis here. I don't know that I would put it... I don't think I would put it in the bed. And if I did put in the bed, I would have whatever I have growing on this side. I don't necessarily want this bed to have a lot going in because I mean to have more herbaceous perennial type things over there. But this could be... I don't think I would do a rose over here. This area is not super organic rich, and I wouldn't want it fighting with like the lilac and the marigold. But maybe like a star jasmine, maybe a clematis. I think I could just have enough organic material for a clematis over here. Maybe clematis, something over here. Do I want it at the edge of this bed? I could have like a couple of rows or something climbing, so it's like a little tunnel, right? I also don't want something that's super heavy enough that I can't see the rest of the garden. So that's my idea. That's what I'm thinking about things right now. So right now I'm gonna go and get some nails, close this up, and then get back to what do you call this? Get back to the shed. I don't know how that's gonna work time-wise, but I would like to be using it in some sense. The office, garden, shed, greenhouse thing, whatever. I would like to be using it to some extent by February. Again, today's the 20th, so it gives me like 11 days. And about those 11 days is going to be really cold. But as long as I can build something, and I would have loved to have found, I would have loved to have found by now, by the wayside, because my mother did find some fresh new wood at the local dump site. You know, I would love to have found some 2-inch, and it's really hard to get 2-inch or smaller windows. This is the wood that my mother had found at the dump. It's pretty solid. And my idea is already, I was telling my mother, my idea is, because everything here is 2-inch wood. My idea is I'm just gonna put these on the wall somewhere, and they're gonna be shelves, because I have enough scrap wood to make like the supports and then just shelve it up, right? So yeah. So this is an old box that was already screwed. I didn't realize until I came here. It was just, it's super warped. Super warped. So only every here and now that I reinforced pretty much on these back areas. And then I hammered in these stakes. So it's a lot more square than it was. And I don't really need it to be super firm, because the idea is just I don't want some area for this stuff to break down. And then once it breaks down and things are in, I really won't care. But I did hammer in these stakes. I screwed one here. I screwed one here, it broke, because that's how old and the wood is. This one in the middle had broken. I just hammered it in on both sides. Everything's hammered in, just for general support, right? So, yeah. And so, my other thought was, okay, my thought has been for a while, that this is a perfect area for an arch trellis thing. So, see if that gets taken down. Perfect area for like an arch trellis thing. And then, now that these stakes, these pieces of wood that were marking attempts at yam growth this past year that didn't really work, now that they're out, this could also be put on the side, on that side also, right? I'm also thinking that these landscape lumbers can be pulled up, or at least this line can be a bit farther away from the wall. Because the whole thing is 4 feet from the wall, right? Let's cut each of my feet as a foot. I do wear a size 12 in women's. 1, 2. So we're more than 4 feet away. Let's go straight at the diagonal. 1, 2. We're probably like 3, well, 4-ish. So this could probably go up a little more. I'm not sure why this looks like it's curving, but it does look like it's curving with that area. It could just look like it's, I don't know why. That's interesting. Anyway, I'm not super pressed. My mind is always changing with plans. This could be a soup of hydrangeas over here. This could be a soup of hydrangeas over here, and no roses actually, right? So, because the roses, they have aggressive roots, right? So this hydrangeas might be a better option. They'd be tall, but not too tall. So some white hydrangeas would be nice here. Could still have the arbor thing. And some more hydrangeas over there. and that would kind of block the well house from view, right? So that's an idea. Hydrangeas, super hydrangeas here. I kind of do want to have like a moon area garden, but I also like looking out at the night and not seeing a bunch of things blocking the view of the road, at least at this point, right? But I don't need anyone looking in also, is the other thing. So this could be a super hydrangeas. Because I did try, and at some point, I think there were like some zinnias like 2 summers ago or something like that over here. It didn't really speak to me. If that comes down, this whole area is open. Could be like a shed put down over here or something. So there's a lot of options. Things are always changing. I love that. So we got 2 extra planks, boards up there, whatever, their level. It's a whole mess. But we're gonna figure it out, right? And so the main thing at this point is, I shaved this down. It was great. I gotta shave it some more. I gotta shave it just a little teensy bit more so it lays flat. And so I got this other board that's up there, level again. Also, it really is just this has to come off. This has to come off. And then I was like, oh my gosh. So I put it there, and it's like it's kind of floating. I nailed some other supports. I nailed it in somewhere. I think I nailed this to this. I nailed a longer one to that up top because it came off. On the inside, there's a plank supporting this. I nailed this to this. I'm like, oh, it's kind of, again, it's floating. It's not resting on anything, really. So let me wedge this in there. So essentially, now I know I have, it's just one of these track pieces that'll work as a piece there. So yeah, so once I get that to lay, then I can level everything out as the idea. Will that be tomorrow? Will that be in many more days? Who knows? But look at that. They're both like enclosed atop at least once. That's exciting. Wow, it really looks like something. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah.